What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, Bouey in the building. And I'm back here with a video where I talk about some of my uninhibited thoughts. And as I talk about these thoughts, you can watch some of my gameplay where I experimented with the Sub-Zero Frost cameo and, use Serena thereafter. You know what I'm saying? So now that Thanksgiving break is over, your boy's back in school teaching these babies this mathematics, whether it be scatter plots and lines of best fit in statistics, or parallel lines and transversals in geometry, or it's expressions and equations in math for ACT, or whether it's about linear functions in the GED night classes. Your boy is back on his grizzy. And so naturally that means that I don't have all the time in the world to play MK1. I have more time to actually watch people make content about it. And so, of course, I have my thoughts about the content that is made. And so one of the first things I had been watching were the podcasts by Tom Brady, MK Tom Brady, and M2 Dave. And let me say this outright before I even begin. I am a massive fan of MK Tom Brady. I'm an acolyte of his. You probably can tell by the style of video that I make, the way that I play my Sub-Zero, all that stuff. I'm a student of the Tom Brady school of thought when it comes to Sub-Zero and stuff like that. You know, where patience is key. And in so many instances, as Tom Brady has said, 99% of players, you don't have to beat them. All you have to do is find a way to allow them to beat themselves. So I'm a fan. I'm still subscribed to him on Twitch to this very day, even though the boy don't even get on there and play no games no more. But hey, whatever. He's a busy man. He got a life, kid, family, all the shit. So if I don't play the game, I can't expect him to play it either, right? So I'm a fan. I be plugged in. I was locked in to MK Tom Brady ever since the MK9 days when he had that mirror match with DJT in Sub-Zero, the Sub-Zero mirror match, I should say. And Triforce was on commentary. Some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go check that shit out. That shit's great. Look up MK9, MK Tom Brady versus DJT Sub-Zero mirror. That shit is fucking awesome. But anyway, I've been a fan for a long time. And so, because I've been a fan a long time, I can say this with the utmost sincerity, and I don't even have to preface it by saying no disrespect, because I'm not disrespecting him. But MK Tom Brady is a serial exaggerator. Okay? He tends to think in extremes. If you notice his commentary, either something will never, ever, ever happen, or it will always happen every single time unless something is just wrong. Okay? Either something has been done 1,000,000 times before, or it's never been done at all. You know what I'm saying? He thinks in extremes, and he talks in extremes. Now, even in talking about his supporters, he proclaims that nobody in the community likes him. He has no supporters. He has no fans. That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm a fan. If Tom Brady was regularly uploading content and streaming and stuff like that, like he used to do back in the day, this channel it would still exist, but I wouldn't be here talking to y'all because I'd be listening to him. You know what I'm saying? But he's convinced himself that he has no fans, no allies, nobody that supports him, even though he has countless people on his pages that say, hey, I'm a fan, I support you, I'll rock with you. He's convinced himself of the extreme. And the effects of that exaggerating aren't much different than the effects of telling lies. Now, this is not me calling Tom Brady a liar, because he's not lying. He's not lying. Lying is willfully or even accidentally deceiving somebody of something that's not true. What Tom Brady does is not that. He's not lying about anything he's saying. But what he does is he blows it up to dramatic proportions, makes it infinitely worse or better than what it is, either more prevalent or non-existent, despite what the actual truth of the matter is. You know, a few months ago, he actually talked about some tech of mine, the universal clone setup. He proclaimed that there were, quote, 1,000 videos of people using this tech before I put it out. I made a response video in which I said, okay, well, show me 2 videos of somebody doing this before I put it out. Crickets. You know? If there were 1,000 people that were already doing the Airstring 112 after a double back 2 into an ice clone, I would have never put out that video if people were already doing it. The reason why I put the video out and decided to give it a name is because I saw that people weren't doing it already. And I thought it would be very useful to have a way for us to safely set up ice clone in a way that doesn't get us armor killed. You know what I'm saying? And so it's very clear that, yes, it's completely possible that somebody did this before I did. It's possible that Sikander did it in a match once or a few times. But on a regular basis, I do not see Sikander using this tech. So either it's tech that he abandoned and didn't find use for, or it's tech that he just didn't do. Maybe the tech didn't exist. And not just him, Arona, Just Meezy, Limbo Dog, nobody. Linkway Master, I ain't seen no Sub-Zeros do that shit. And that's the only reason why I put that out. But this is not about me or my tech or any sort of grievances or anything like that. This is about the fact that he proclaimed that there are thousands of people or thousands of videos on this tech out already that people had been doing for a while. But yet when it's time to prove this claim, you can't produce not one video of somebody doing this ahead of time. You can't produce one video of somebody having done this before. You see what I'm saying? And so if you just, unthinkingly believed what Tom had to say about this, you'd be like, oh, well, he's showing something old and rebranding it. And it's like, that's not true. People were not already doing this already, Oh, wow. But why am I bringing all this up? The reason why I bring all this up is because it factors into his analyses or his analysis of the game. See, in the latest podcast titled MK1 is Dead, Tom Brady describes a phenomenon known as toxic positivity that he proclaims is rampant in the MK community, where you're not even allowed to talk about what's wrong with the game. If you constructively criticize MK1, people sit there and call you a hater. They proclaim that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the game. You're bugging, you're tripping. Stop talking because you're not making any sense. Right? Now, let me be clear. Toxic positivity does exist. It does exist. And there are real instances of toxic positivity within the fighting game community. But I can only think of one motherfucker, really, that has came out and pretty much proclaimed that there's absolutely nothing wrong with MK1. And that person is Roy Archon. He's the only person that I have seen be toxically positive about MK1 in particular. Anytime you bring up a legitimate issue with this game, he proclaims that it's not an issue and it's not legitimate, like he tried to do with Player One Advantage. You know what I'm saying? Dude even had the nerve to say that the game was not rushed when we all can see that it is. It most obviously is. It was released ever since the Player One Advantage video, and we can see every day that it was rushed. It's still not in its complete form, even to this day. But you couldn't tell dude that. You know what I'm saying? And so that is the one lone example of somebody being toxically positive to where you can't even criticize the game around them. Everybody else that I've seen has acknowledged the very real grievances that exist in this game. They acknowledge that the game is flawed, and they point out the ways that the game is flawed. What they've done is they've decided to be optimistic in a jaded ass world that we live in. That's what the fuck I've seen. So people like Crimson Shadow, who might have been characterized as toxically positive, I don't think he's been toxically positive. I think he points out the good rather than always looking at the bad. That's not toxic. As a matter of fact, I find that to be necessary more than ever, because it's very easy for motherfuckers to look at all the things wrong with a game and forget that Mortal Kombat 1 solved a lot of issues that we had in MK11 and in MKX. You know what I'm saying? That's part of why I like my channel so much, is because I point those things out. I don't want to go back to the dark ages of, you know, meter regenerating for no reason and character wake-ups completely disrupting the idea of doing pressure on knockdown. I remember when we couldn't guarantee that we would be able to jail off of our pokes, which is insane to think about because of flawless block reversals. Y'all remember that? And who could forget how stupid breakaways were and how dumb fatal blows used to be in MK11? This game upended all the dumb shit from that game. You know what I'm saying? And people lose sight of that because they're too busy being bogged down in, you know, the nitty gritties of what's wrong, you know? But let me tell you what I have seen. I have seen a lot of toxic negativity surrounding MK1. There are channels out there and YouTubers out there, Mike Hollow, The Jaded Rabbit, Fight All Thy Enemies, you know, to a lesser extent, Loose Streets, and some others that have been dedicated towards plastering their disdain for MK1 all over the place, spreading it as far and as wide as the eye could see. Some of those channels have dedicated their whole existence to shitting on MK1, and not just because of the cameos. They shitted on the game before we even got gameplay of the shit. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck you sit there and hate on a game before the bitch even come out? How you render a verdict on a game when you ain't even played it yet? You know? So that's what I've seen. And it's not just them. It's the thousands and thousands and thousands of comments that I've read, not just on my own channel, but on other people's channels, where people are relentlessly shitting on this game for every reason imaginable, whether legitimate or not. Worst MK ever. MK11 was better. This game is scrubby. This game is an unbalanced mess. All kinds of shit people have been saying about this game. Shit that don't make no goddamn sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have said every manner of thing about this game, some of which is contradictory. You know what I'm saying? Because people used to complain about not having no damn combos in MK11. Now I'm hearing shit about too many combos, or the combos are too long in this game. Nutty. But anyway, there's been a never-ending stream of bad things to say about this particular game. And let me say this, a lot of it has been earned. Much of it has been earned. This game did have a terrible release. Absolutely terrible. Who knows that better than I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, this game released in an alpha state, pre-alpha state. Bugs all over the fucking place. Content missing that had been a part of NRS games since 2011. You know what I'm saying? Like, all kind of fucking bugs. Brutalities not working. Dismemberments not being complete. And then in addition to content being missing, you got these fucking $10 skins. You know what I'm saying? $10 skins, a terrible offline mode that virtually nobody likes. You know what I'm saying? Then you got this wildly overpriced DLC, as well as an overpriced game to begin with. Because let's not forget, those of us that wanted early access to Combat Pack 1, we paid $110 some odd for this bitch to get access to the beta and Combat Pack 1 and all that type of shit. We spent money on this game. This game was an investment. It wasn't just $60 and you done, or $70 and you done. You know what I mean? So, we spent some dough. We spent some dough on this. Okay? And I didn't even list all the issues because people in Africa still can't play the game online. And then there was a long moment in time where the game would randomly desync you in matches when you got on the internet and played people. So we've been through the ringer with this game. So the launch was terrible. All right. And so for all of that bad will, people have every right to be angry and upset. Every right. But here's the problem. They vectored their anger to the wrong motherfuckers. They mad at the wrong people. They mad at Ed Boon. They're mad at Stephanie Brownback. Some motherfuckers are even going as far as to dead name that lady when she's been a lady for 10 fucking years. And I remember what she used to look like before her transition. I remember watching her in tournament back when she was a he. I remember all that shit. Yes. But that was the old her. This is a woman now. You ain't gotta like it. You ain't gotta understand it. You just gotta acknowledge it. And if you don't, you a fuck nigga. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, people are vectoring transphobia and general disdain towards NRS when you should be directing it to WB. WB's the one fucking up multiverses. They're the ones fucking up Kill the Justice League. They're the one canceling content. They're the ones putting advertisements for non-MK games inside MK and Injustice 2. They're the ones not supporting the tournament scene. They're the ones charging $50 for DLC. They're the ones responsible for all these goddamn microtransactions that are present in MK1. They're the ones that likely told NRS, hey, I don't want you to spend the extra money to put this shit on PS4 and Xbox One. And people talk shit about the sales. Part of the reason why this game didn't sell so well is because it's only exclusively available on 9th generation consoles. You cannot get this game for PS4. You can't get it for Xbox One. You can get it for the Switch though, which is fucking stupid. But the reason why that's significant is because there are trillions more, not trillions. Let me not do no Tom Brady exaggeration. But there are multiple more people on PS4 and Xbox One still than on PS5. There's a reason why the vast majority of PS5 games used to be PS4 games. The top selling games on PS5 are all former PS4 exclusives that got upgraded. There's a reason for that, because the overwhelming majority of PS5 users were PS4 users first. And the overwhelming majority of PS4 users still only have PS4. They don't have the new generation consoles, whether it's because they're too expensive, not enough value, whatever the fucking reason is. Therefore, when you take a game and you say, hey, this game is only available on these new consoles, it ain't gonna sell as well as the predecessor that was available on all platforms. Because you can play MK11 on a PS5, and you can play it on a PS4. You can play it on Xbox Series S and X, and you can also play it on Xbox One. I can't say that about MK1. And if you think that doesn't contribute to its low sales, you ain't thinking. Yes, it did launch poorly, but also it launched on the wrong consoles too. Now, people are going to sit here and blame the cameos, and they're going to blame every other nefarious quote unquote thing they can think of. I had a motherfucker blame wokeness. They said woke. I had two motherfuckers say that, actually. Wokeness is what killed MK1. And as soon as I hear somebody say some stupid shit like that, I know you a dumb nigga. I know you stupid as fuck. You stupid as fuck. And I'm going to tell you why you stupid as fuck. MKX. MKX was woke as fuck. The stars of that game were DEI hires into the Mortal Kombat franchise. Cassie Cage, Takeda Takahashi, Kung Jin, and Jackie Briggs. You have a girl boss white feminist leading a group of Rainbow Club combatants who are sons, daughters, and cousins of classic iconic characters who are all still in the game, by the way. She leads this Rainbow Coalition to defeat Amulet corrupted Shinnok in the events of MKX. They beat Zombie Liu Kang. They beat Melina. Matter of fact, Melina dies in the game. Shao Kahn is gone, so they don't even get a chance to beat him. They treat Quan Chi like a $2 hoe, okay, in the story, as well as some of their own new characters like Kotal Khan. And in the end, this girl boss white feminist winds up beating a charged up Amulet corrupted Shinnok and rescuing her father and Raiden in the process. That is infinitely more woke than anything that happened in this game, MK1. And you motherfuckers swear that Mortal Kombat X was the best thing since sliced fucking bread. Some of you have said that MKX is peak combat, peak Mortal Kombat. Yeah, the game with perpetual 50-50s and armored launchers and shit. That game where you couldn't even goddamn anti-air nobody because jumps were too strong and defense was poor. That game was peak Mortal Kombat. Y'all just skipped over the part where the game was woke as fuck. But yet wokeness killed MK1. You stupid. All because two characters got gender swapped. And they got gender swapped and maintained exactly the same characteristics that they've always had. This is the most harmless gender swap in damn media history. And you bitches want to cry woke. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Cyrax was known for being rebellious and individualist. Not in the typical Western way, but what I'm talking about is, hey, I'm not going to sit here and sacrifice my soul in order to be a part of this group. Cyrax was like that back when he was Kofi Kingston in MK9, and Cyrax is still like that now in MK1. Cyrax's character hasn't changed a bit in terms of who she is. They've made her more interesting because now she's one of Scorpion's exes. And she joined up with the Shirai Ryu instead of sacrificing herself as male Cyrax in the events of MK11. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. And then Sector hasn't gotten really the chance to be conniving yet, but Sector is still every bit as ruthless and dedicated to the Lin Kuei as she ever was, as male Sector ever was. The only difference is she ain't killed one of her parents yet. Okay. But the core part of their identity is still there. Hunting down Kuai Liang for deserting the Lin Kuei. Still being robotic. They ain't cyborgs yet. But I think Sector is getting there. But my point is this, though. MK1 is much less woke than MKX ever was. Because the shit I described with MKX was the main goddamn story of MKX. Whereas Sector and Cyrax was an expansion of the main story. If you wanted to ignore the expansion, you could. And you'd never have to think about Sector and Cyrax. You see? But if wokeness didn't kill MKX, if wokeness didn't stop MKX from being successful, why would it stop this game? Why? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make no fucking sense. It don't make no motherfucking sense. It don't make no motherfucking sense. And the people that think this shit, you got brain rot. Anti-wokeness has fucked up your brain, man. It really has. It's fucked up your brain. You are so conditioned to be like, oh, woke this, woke. You are so stuck on stupid with the woke shit that you ain't even bothered to think if it made sense or not. And it don't make no goddamn sense. But anyway. The big point of what I'm saying in all of this is that wokeness is not the thing that stopped development on MK1. WB is. Literally. They called up NRS and said, hey, look, this DLC was not profitable. That was actually really cool on behalf of this katana. This DLC you just dropped was not profitable. We're not gonna put any more DLC out for this game. We want more money, so you're gonna start working on the new shit now. Even though you told everybody that you're gonna be supporting this game for, you know, the next 2-3 years. Nah, fuck that. We want our money now. So you're making a new Mortal Kombat. That's what WB just said. That's what WB just did. WB is responsible for what's going on with MK1. Not wokeness, not the cameos, not even the lack of content and the desync issues, though those did obviously contribute. All that shit that people had grievances with are symptoms of the problem. The problem is WB forced NRS to put out a product it was not ready to put out. And because WB owns the Mortal Kombat IP and they own NRS, NRS ain't got no choice but to comply. You see what I'm saying? This shit is funny to me. So you gonna run and zone the whole match, but then you mad at me for some reason. What the fuck? Like, that's weird. Anyway. And you're using a character that's top tier and I'm not. What the fuck? Like, shit's strange. But anyway. So when WB jumps, NRS has to say how high. They ain't got no fucking choice in the matter. That's their employer. It's almost like when people would make the argument about Cassie and P. Diddy and sit there and say, why didn't Cassie leave P. Diddy? Bitch. P. Diddy was her employer and her boyfriend. Ain't no just fucking leave. That's your boss. She was trying to have a music career and she got hired at Bad Boy as an artist. You don't just walk away from your job. That's not how that shit works. Not to mention the girl was in her teens and young 20s, dealing with a man that was probably in his 40s or 50s or some shit. There was an age gap. How many of you at the tender age of 19 and 20 would have had the temerity to walk away from your older boss and lover and tell them to kick rocks while you do your thing when you're contractually obligated to stay with them? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so NRS can't just do what it want to do. It has to be subject to the whim and will of WB. It has to be. Oh, shit. My boy froze himself. That's funny as fuck. I should have got a whole ass combo on his bitch ass. Goddamn. Anyway. But the point of what I'm getting at is we got to analyze patterns out here in these streets. What has been the pattern with NRS games? We have had Mortal Kombat 9. We have had Injustice 1. We've had MKX. We've had Injustice 2. And we've had MK11. That is 5 goddamn NRS titles before MK1. Every single one of them shits had plenty of content. Offline and online. We had rooms. We had a full suite of features. We had everything that a fighting game could ask for and more. We had all that shit. Now all of a sudden, NRS doesn't know how to put out a complete game? No, motherfuckers. NRS knows how to put out complete shit. They've done it. They've done it for years and motherfucking years. You understand? They've been doing this for 10 years. They know how to put out content. They know how to put out a game with good internet. They've done it. They've done that. They've been the industry standard for what a fighting game should have on release. But WB was different. And WB was not hemorrhaging itself for money. It was also under different management. When you have new management and they broke, they gonna act a goddamn fool in order to get their bread. And that's what we have experienced. That's what we have been the victims of. Not NRS being incompetent, not NRS not knowing how to put out a complete game in the year 2023. No, we gotta analyze patterns in this motherfucker. We gotta actually think and compare what we have had to what we got now and notice the differences. And we have to observe the changes of a company and situation in context. We know that WB has been tripping. We've seen with their other games, they have been bugging the fuck out. Look at Gotham Knights. Look at Multiverses. Look at the Suicide Squad game. Look at all these fucking games that have been under their umbrella where they've been tripping out. They've been tripping, dog. Ooh, dummy. They've been tripping out. They've been... What? I don't even know what the fuck happened right there. That was bull ass shit. Anyway. They've been bugging out. That company has been whiffing. They've had whiff after whiff after whiff on various games. The only 2 games that they're even committed to working on are Hogwarts Legacy 2 and Mortal Kombat. We might not even get a new Injustice game. You see what I'm saying? So, again, use your fucking brain, people. Use your goddamn brain. Please use your brain. Speaking of using your brain, the very last piece of content that I've been viewing that's freshest in my mind are the 2 videos from Zombat. Zombat is a competitive Mortal Kombat player who got his proverbial wings during the Injustice 2 era, but he really took off during MK11, where he famously was one of the first Johnny Cage players to defeat Sonic Fox in tournament when Johnny Cage was considered to not be high tier. Zombat knows what the fuck he talking about. And I would consider him, you know, one of the top 5, oh my God, top 5 players in our scene in recent history. Okay. And so Zombat put out 2 videos. One was talking about the things that were wrong with MK1 as a reaction to news about it closing and stuff like that. And then he also put out a video talking about the effect of cameos on the game. You know what I'm saying? And while I'm talking about that, let me transition to my next video here. Hold on, y'all. Oh, y'all didn't know I just play videos? Yes, you did. But anyway, so I'm not here to debunk anything that Zombat said. Nothing. You know why? Because Zombat is right. I pretty much fully agree with Zombat about everything he said concerning particularly the cameos. You know what I'm saying? But even in regards to the things that he said was wrong with MK1, my boy didn't say nothing that was factually inaccurate. Everything he said was factually accurate and correct. All of it. All of it. And I want to say a couple things that really, I hope, will add to the discussion, because I would definitely advise for y'all to watch his videos if you haven't seen them yet. But what I want to say is this. There's a lot of people chiming in about the things that were wrong with MK1 when he's talking about competitive balance and gameplay. He's a competitor, so of course he's going to talk about competitive balance and gameplay. But the vast majority of people that had gripes with MK1, they're not even mad at MK1 for the same reasons that he noted. They don't give a fuck about none of that shit he talking about. None of it. None of it. None of that is the reason why they are mad. And so it's very interesting to see them chime in and say, yeah, I had the same problem too, and sit there and act like they agree, but you motherfuckers don't know what he talking about. He said Farrah's a trash cameo, but you motherfuckers spamming Farrah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is funny to me. But anyway. But the more important part of what I have to say concerning him is this. I want to remind y'all, we would have to deal with gameplay related bullshit no matter what MK1 had as its main gimmick. Let's talk about a hypothetical world in which cameos were not added to this game. Let's say it was custom variations again. We would have to deal with the bullshit, whatever bullshit surrounded the custom variations. There would be some character or a series of characters that are just using a custom variation that is just too fucking strong. You know what I'm saying? We would have to deal with something that we would consider to be meta. We'd have to be dealing with something. Something. You know what I'm saying? How do I know this? Because I've been around in this community long enough to know. MK9 didn't have any gimmicks at all. In MK9, you had characters and archetypes. No particular gimmicks. You picked a character. You played that character one way. You only had one version of that character to consider. Just the tools that they had at their disposal. Right? I don't know what the fuck possessed me to jump there. That was dumb. Anyway, and in MK9, you know what was the meta? Kung Lao and Cabal. If you look at tournament footage for Mortal Kombat 9, it will be littered with Kung Lao mirror matches, Cabal mirror matches, and Kung Lao versus Cabal. That is what you will see. Now, every now and again, you'll get a smattering of other top tier characters like Pig of the Hutt's Kenshi. Maybe you'll get some Cyrax from DJT. You'll get some Sonya from Sonic Fox, but that didn't come until later. You'll get some Johnny Cage on behalf of Dizzy. You'll have some 16-bit Katana. You know what I'm saying? You'll get some Wound Cowboys, Shang Tsung. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might get some Costner Reptile. You know what I mean? Like, some Waffle Smoke. Some Tom Brady Sub-Zero. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll get a smattering of those characters, but the overwhelming majority of the time, it's going to be Cabal and Kung Lao. That was the meta. And that game didn't have no fucking gimmicks. You know what I'm saying? So the game just wasn't very well competitively balanced at all. If you weren't picking a top 15 character in the game, you just didn't play in tournaments. Period. Okay? Fast forward to MKX. What was the meta? Mixing bitches to death. Having neutral busting tools. And having ridiculous plus frames. Whether that was Shinnok and Hellsparks. Kung Lao and his Tempest Lao and his orbiting hat early on. Raiden with having a 6-frame mid or some shit, or 6-frame forward 1 early on that was only there for literally the first month of the game. And then Dizzy got that shit nerfed, you know what I'm saying? Or Fisticuffs Johnny Cage and shit that DJT got nerfed. You know what I'm saying? All that shit, bro. Like, bro. Oh, this shit pissed me off. I don't even fight Reptile like that. I was so mad. I want to show me getting back at this bitch. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so there's all kind of meta characters, and then you had characters that got buffed to fuck, like Melina and Takeda, and Katana. Like, there was all kinds of shit that was meta in MKX with the variation system, whether that be Tremor, whether that be Shinnok, whether that be Kenshi, whether that be Liu Kang later on, whether that be Tremor, you know what I'm saying? Whether that be motherfucking Aaron Black or Ermac or whomever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just had all kinds of wild ass shit. That was an accident. I didn't mean to do no goddamn jump right there. But what I'm saying is, you had some crazy wild meta that players were sick to fucking death of. The same way that they're sick to fucking death of cameos. Well, certain cameos in this game. Right? Then you had MK11. Boy, oh boy. You talking about a game that people could not stand. People could not stand playing that game. You had tournament players that flat out refused to play that fucking game, like Forever King, because it was so bland and it was so dry. And you had Jackie Briggs and goddamn Cetrion and later Fujin and Johnny for a little second just dominating the top tier, and Liu Kang, and you know what I'm saying? Like, then it was Joker later and all kind of shit. Like, the point of what I'm getting at is, No matter what game you play, no matter what the gimmick of the game is, there's going to be some gameplay quirk or quiggle that we would have to be dealing with, that we would be pissed off about. Notice, this is the shit I was talking about, by the way. I want you to notice I did an EX clone here. Notice he teleported and tried to kick me. Got his ass fucked up. See that shit? Don't tell me Sub-Zero didn't get buffed, motherfuckers. Anyway. But yeah, we would have to deal with some sort of gameplay quirk, some competitive balance quirks that would cause us to pull our fucking hair out of our head. Something that would piss us the fuck off. We have to deal with something, no matter what the gimmick of the game is. So even if we didn't have cameos in MK1, we'd be dealing with some shit, something, and it would make us mad. So cameos are not the reason why this game was considered trash or nothing like that. Cameos alone weren't the reason for shit. Cameos are just the latest thing that have people pissed off in a fighting game. Every other fighting game community doesn't have cameos. They don't have assists. Street Fighter ain't got no assists. Tekken ain't got no assists. But all the players of those games in the competitive scene are pissed off at their games too. Just like we are at ours. All right. But so again, I'm not saying that Zombat is wrong, because he's not. He's not wrong about shit he said having to do with the cameo system and the different metas that, you know, were present, whether it be the Cyrax meta, the Lao meta, the Striker meta, the Chameleon meta, and now the Pharah meta. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not wrong about none of that shit. He ain't wrong about none of that shit. But if it weren't the cameos that were causing the meta, it would be the characters. It would be something. You see what I'm saying? And that's something that we got to recognize. Okay? That's something we got to recognize. Now, I'm almost done with my rambling, so just bear with me for a second. And if you've made it this far in the video, you the real MVP, because I know I've been ranting for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is a good ass set to end on, because this set was fun as fuck. But one thing I want to say is that when it comes down to your favorite YouTubers, even if they ain't on YouTube, it don't matter where they at. They ain't gotta be on YouTube. They could be anywhere. Please do not ever get to a point where you just be believing what the fuck they say and you just uncritically accept what they have to offer you. Always have your mind and your brain open. Make sure that what they're saying to you makes some goddamn sense. And don't be afraid to call them out in the instances where it don't make sense. And that includes me. Because I could tell y'all some shit accidentally that's not ideal. I'm going to tell you the truth. It almost happened. I recorded a video regarding Sub-Zero and Frost, and I came up with tech. And you saw me try to use this tech throughout this video in the early parts. It was a mixed bag. But I recorded the Frost video before I did any testing. And I said in that video that I actually recommend this team. And I might recommend it even as highly as I recommend Sub Serena. I don't feel that way now. You could still use Sub Frost. Sub Frost is still a dope fucking team that is usable. Let me not get it fucked up. But is it nearly as effective as other Sub-Zero teams? Hell no. Hell no. At least not the way I was playing it. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's possible that I didn't dig far enough and find some shit that would take it over the edge, but I find that with Sub Frost, even though she does provide a lot of good shit for Sub now, the main thing I was going for was using Ice Clone to get a refreeze in the Ice Orb. But you only have a split second to do a 50-50 into that bitch. And so if you miss your window, chances are your opponent's just not going to get frozen by it. And that defeats the whole purpose of using the Frost Cameo. Because the Frost Cameo is there to allow you to get 60-70% damage in a combo reset. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, that was a good anti. God damn. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of me using damn Frost. Because she doesn't really help him in neutral that much. And she kind of helps him up close, but not really. So if you're not hitting this big fucking damage situation setup that I created, you're just not even able to function fully with that cameo, you know? And so I would have put out that video and sold people a bill of goods saying, hey, Sub Frost is viable. You could use Sub Frost and shit. And it wouldn't have been fully true. Now, in that particular instance, that's not me meaning to mislead people. That's not me trying to be malicious or no shit like that. That's me saying some shit I believed without doing the full rigorous testing needed to verify that it worked. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're supposed to do. You got to verify that some shit works before you go out and say that it does. And so that's the difference between me and some other more unscrupulous YouTubers. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to put out some tech, I'm going to make sure the shit work. Or do my best. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure that it's like, hey, this shit does work. Now, if I can't test it myself, I'll sit there and put an asterisk on it and say, hey, you can do the shit, but don't sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to center my whole damn game plan around this shit, because there's a chance that it might get you fucked up. You know what I mean? So I'll put asterisks. Asterisks. I don't even know what the plural of that word is. But anyway, I'll put asterisks in situations like that where I'm not exactly sure how viable some shit is for long-term use. But I didn't quite do that in the Frost video that I was going to release. The Sub Frost video. And so I accidentally misled y'all. Without even wanting to. You know what I'm saying? And so if someone that's not trying to mislead people can accidentally do it almost, what do you think happens with somebody that don't give a fuck and just be saying shit that they feel? You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this? So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, don't never let nobody be in charge of your thinking. Nobody but you. Always have your thinking cap on. And this is the inner educator coming out of me. Not inner, because I educate for a living. But I'm saying, like, don't never let nobody think for you. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care what the context is. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your knowledgeable ass coworker who knows every damn thing. I don't give a fuck. Your favorite political pundit. I don't give a damn who it is. Your favorite YouTuber that says, nah, I'm saying way too goddamn much. Whomever it may be. Don't ever let nobody think for you. Be willing to challenge what they have to say. even if it's painful for you to do so. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to make sure I ended the video with that, plus a nice ass quitality. God damn it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But for those of y'all that have been rocking with me for the entirety of this video, I appreciate y'all so much. And I truly hope that something that I said in this video will help you. I know it was a long one. I know I rambled, but I'm hoping that you gleaned something from this. But with that being said, I'll catch y'all later, y'all. One.